Happy Thursday, Paladins fans. You're watching the Paladins Pro Circuit. My name is Dolson. Goremizer is with me, and we're going to be starting things off over in Europe today. And Gore, Europe has jumped out as maybe one of the most contested regions. I feel like week after week these games are going long, and we've got a good one here, Clown Fiesta versus Mixalezub.
I'm just glad to know that after all this time, it's been like the one consistent thing that Europe always does. Over the years of Paladins is just make sure everything's contested, and you can't get much more contested than that. And granted, it's only week number 3, so maybe there hasn't been enough room for some of these teams to truly separate. But the fact that 4 of the teams right there in the middle are 1-1, and all of them within 3 to 4 maps of each other is pretty insane to me to see. And I think that just is a testament to them. Again, these guys play each other all the time, whether it's in ranked or if they play in any like community tournaments. They see each other literally every time they're trying to play the game. So it's always fun to see how they do fare up when it comes to the competitive games.
Oh, Gore, it's so surprising seeing Clown Fiesta where they're at. I mean, you look at the roster they've got, Accentra, Prosperlogic, Bolka, Alex, Cruncy. I mean, that star power on that roster, so you'd expect them to maybe be a little bit further apart. So maybe this is a matchup where they're able to do so. Let's see what the European picks and bans have in store for us, though. Mixalezub will be in that first pick spot. Of course, Clown Fiesta over in that second pick slot. We've seen a lot of this, though, Gore, that ROM being taken away, and Nara's been kind of the premium tank, whether off tank or point tank, and Nara's been in that conversation. Ash, though, not surprised to see her banned out. She's seen an increased rate of play here recently as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so interesting lately just because tanks are high priority, not for the reason you would think they'd be high priority, but it really just does come down to the fact that, you know, like your Atlases, your Ashes can be that off-tank. Same thing for ROM. All 3 of them will be that off-tank that is just causing too much trouble for your backline, for a flanker maybe to get that aggressive. But I look towards, well, I guess it's Europe, so you always have to look at Ruckus being available. But realistically, Inara, it almost always comes to my mind as one of the top tanks right now just because she's so hard to kill, and a lot of teams are able to utilize that in such a great way. I'm interested to see specifically if Clown Fiesta pick that up because of their historied roster. But at the same time, she's kind of been not necessarily ignored, but she's not top 6 most of the time. She goes down towards the bottom.
Right, the priority is sort of shifted depending on whether Victor and Vivian are banned out. Of course, that hit scan presence so strong nowadays. Clown Fiesta, Gore, they're going to get a couple of power picks right off the top here. Victor and Droxus have started to become 2 of the most difficult to deal with damage dealers in the game, and Clown Fiesta got both of them. I think they got to be feeling great with what they've started with. You flip to the other side, though, Ruckus, Genos, Leon, a decent start from Mixalezub as well.
I think when you're looking for your top-tier hit scans, though, right now, you know, Vivian being banned obviously deserves to be up there. Victor and Androxus, I think, follow up pretty well in all lists that come down for them. They are some of the top picks right now. I think Androxus, you know, in Phase 1 we didn't get to see a lot of him, but since then he has kind of skyrocketed in terms of his potential and what people are picking him up to do. And it pains me to say this, Dave, but Leon has kind of fallen to the wayside. Like she, at this point, it kind of feels like you're picking her because she's the best of what's left, and even then, you're kind of shaky on it. Just depends on what you want to play. I think her and Cassie are pretty interchangeable, but she is good at being an anti-flank, and so dealing with Androxus is probably going to be her main goal here, is trying to just take him out of the sky.
Well, for some context on these picks and bans, Bright Marsh is where we're going to be playing for map number 1. So an interesting bit of context, of course, around these picks and bans. Terminus then maybe makes some sense here, controlling that point so well. Xin to follow up in the damage column here for Mixalezub. Maybe need a little bit of extra tankiness if you're on the Mixalezub side here. I mean, Ruckus, good at that mobility, good at chipping down some damage, but I don't know if they've got that staying power just yet.
Yeah, that's always the one issue. And I'm again, it floors me that she makes it all the way down here because I think Inara, man, maybe I'm biased. I love Inara a lot, so I will admit that she's my favorite tank and maybe my favorite champion in the game, right behind Bomb King. But the fact that she goes 9th in a draft just blows me away. But I think Ruckus, high priority, and like you said, is not tanky enough to do it all on his own. That is a draft for Mixalezub that are going to be able to get aggressive. It's going to be in your face with Leon and Xin. I think it's going to cause some trouble for that Androxus. But Terminus is going to be causing trouble for Inara. Eevee's going to make life difficult for everybody. You get 2 flanks, though, going into the anti-flank. Clown Fiesta, are either feeling themselves or they're about to get shot down. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Clan Fiesta, they've got an exciting draft to be able to watch here. Triple DPS for the Star Power squad. Mixalezub have shown, though, that over here in Europe, they are kind of a new age team. They've been grinding it out, and they're here to play as well. They've taken some big games off big name teams. So this one, as with what we've seen all over Europe, should be a pretty contested matchup. And I kind of want to look at this Ruckus here, Gore, and maybe specifically on Bright Marsh. This is a map, you know, he's maybe more map dependent in the current meta, maybe EU, NA, Brazil meta dependent. But we see a lot of Ruckus, I feel like, on Bright Marsh, or when we are seeing Ruckus, it's often on Bright Marsh.
And it's just, I mean, history, this has been one of his best maps. Depending on if you can get this jump, that's actually the hardest part. Jumping up onto the tree, onto the thing, to get onto this rafter. Because now you not only have the high ground, but I always like to equate him to playing like a turret defense game at this point. And granted, you can jump around, and this is really where the control comes from, is having that aerial assault ability to stay up and elevated, so you're kind of distracting the team and forcing them to play in a different manner. But also, you are just a turret waiting for them to walk by and deal damage. But it's just such a high damage potential and so many free shots, because it's either attention on you and your team gets away with it, or attention on your team and you're getting away with it.
Well, I imagine we'll see a lot of this. Alex flying around, getting into the back line, finding opening kills. Clan Fiesta down percentage-wise, 60 to just over 20%. But Clan Fiesta now fighting back into it. Prosper is going to get the kill onto Davazy, put that Ruckus on the back foot. A great wall of defense here, honestly, from the Mixalezub side, or from the Clan Fiesta side, rather. It's going to be difficult for the blue side to break into things here. The long-range shots from the Leon looking to connect. That's now. Prosper, though, is trying to flank around the right-hand side. Those headshots melt down Pecha, and the grenade from range will get rid of the Inara. And that bit of tankiness we were concerned about missing in the pick ban phase, now off the map as Clan Fiesta get point number 1.
Man, I forgot to factor something
goodness.
into everything coming into this, and that was, oh yeah, Prosper Logic's on Victor. This game's done, Dave. I mean, I don't know. Like, normally you see Prosper Logic on Victor, and at least in the old days, that was a death sentence. Right now,
that was game over.
It's starting to feel like it's pretty much in the same vein. He's not getting credit for these kills. Those last two go to Cruncey, but he's the damage. Let's be honest. We all saw Victor doing it. We were on his perspective. We know where it came from. And that is something that Mixalezub are going to have to try very hard throughout this game to deal with. But if you're focusing so much on him, Androxus, Eevee, all get to kind of run rampant. So Prosper might just be able to do some free damage from the backline here.
Yeah, this Xin is going to try to maybe find a flank around to get to this Victor, but the line of defense just so strong from Clan Fiesta up to this point. Prosper Logic rampaging now in this one, as Stop Banning BK will take a tumble on the Xin. Excentra finds some good damage, but just enough offensive presence. Forces Mixalezub off to the side, now Clan Fiesta up too.
Alright, so at this point we can go ahead, open up your cassette player, your CD player, I guess at this point, MP3, whatever you're going to be able to do, and click play on standard comeback mechanic talk. It'll go for about 30 seconds, describe everything that you need to know about it, blah, 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 blah. Either way, Mixalezub having that in their favor, normally I try to lean heavily and say that it's, and it is very powerful. As a Nara, especially at the percentage, I think they got up to 60 with just Princess Peach standing there on that point throughout all of it, even though it was a losing fight. Clan Fiesta are going to have to act faster. They're going to have to get to the point and displace that Inara quicker. But outside of that, I'm not sure they have too much to worry about, except timing maybe being against them. And it's really here at the beginning of the round that it's going to impact it.
You can look at the healing directly behind this Victor, so you imagine difficult to make your way into a Victor, especially with the damage he's outputting on you, but it's also got a Maldamba sitting behind him, helping peel out a little bit extra as well. Excentra opting for a little less mobility right here. Cruncey spited down, but immediately reanimates and gets the delete onto the Inara. Killing spree now for Alex as well, as Xin will take a tumble. Prosper Logic hits some good burst shots. Davazy will fall. 66% for Clan Fiesta, Gore. They've timed their ultimates well and maybe found their third point.
Ooh, and if that shot, that last one from Excentra, been able to connect, that could have been even more of a stagger. I don't think it's going to impact anything. I think it just showcases that, hey, Leon still exists, just not in the same capacity that she used to.
And Prosper just wins that duel straight up. I mean, that's a great moment to kind of look at that matchup and where it stands now. Good fight back in, though, for Mixalezub here, but Prosper Logic's still alive.
Barrage.
You got to pay attention to this Victor off to the side. Barrage, Gore points out, is ready. But he's going to get it done the old-fashioned way. The bullet bursting forth from the gun is going to shut down Mixalezub here. Overtime on, overtime off. Clown Fiesta pushing for the win.
Now, I imagine if you look at the damage charts, Prosper's not only at the top of it, but probably by and far, exceeding everybody else. I didn't even need the numbers there to know he was going to be that far ahead. The reason I bring that up is not just because it's ridiculous that he's doubled everybody else's damage in the game, although it is a little bit. It's the fact that he held on to Barrage throughout all of that. I expected it to just get dropped as a confirmation, if anything. And instead held on to it. Yeah, with that much damage, he's going to charge it up in the blink of an eye. I mean, already at 20-ish% after he had already, shredded it just a few seconds ago. I expect we'll see him at 100 by the time they look to convert this year for Clown Fiesta.
Mixalezub does have some defensive ultimates, though. Clown Fiesta's still looking to charge up there. So if there's a moment where you have to let one fly, it's right there. Keikizo will finally get rid of that Victor, and now maybe a winning fight for Mixalezub. Now will drop down from the high ground. Alex in the ice block, but Davizzi can't finish off the kill. The reversal too much, and Alex shuts down the ruckus here. Mixalezub has dropped down from the high ground, so he's bought themselves some space. Ice Storm over onto Zin. Won't connect for the kill, but Accentra finds the final shot. Clown Fiesta back on the push.
And this is, I think, where things get shaken up, right? I think you had a little bit of pressure as Mixalezub, but not enough to do anything with, and now, unfortunately, you don't have any grip to really fight back. Clown Fiesta, now that Prosper's back and has kind of dug his heels in, same thing for Accentra, you can't do much against it.
That's just it. They're just going to roll this one in. The respawn's not there for Mixalezub. This is kind of that that name presence that we figured would be there from this Clown Fiesta squad. Hadn't seen it in previous weeks. Now finally starting to see some of that momentum build up. Not surprising given the draft that we saw. Prosper Logic, of course, on the Victor, 10-1-9. But Gora Alex on Eevee is something that ripped through the PPL last year as well. Accentra on this Andro. I mean, I hesitate to ever say anything is lost in picks and bans, but giving that amount of comfort and power over to some of the best players on those specific champs, difficult, I think, to get over here.
Yeah, I think it's not just, like player-champion combination, but also you give up two of the strongest DPS, two of the three strongest DPS in the game while banning out the third. So Clown Fiesta got a very good 1 and 2. Terminus, I think, worked really well on Brightmarsh, so like you didn't even suffer too much over there. And yeah, you get the Genos, but the question was whether or not it was able to do a ton. I think Luminary along with Zin, Luminary along with Ruckus was solid. And I don't even mean to trash Leon. I love Leon. I think she worked well in this draft, but I do think it just got kind of outclassed throughout all of this.
Yeah, I think through and through there. So a great starting off point here for Clown Fiesta in this set. Get themselves the clean 4-0, momentum rolling on their side. There's got to be adjustments, though, for Mixalezub here in picks and bans for game number 2 because the power that we saw, just way too much. Splitstone Quarry for map number 2. Gormizer. So if nothing else, if you're looking to slow things down, absolutely a map where you can do that. Longer range engagement, so I think Victor's still on the table as well, but the snipers now maybe start to become a topic of conversation.
And honestly, I think I'm still worried if I am Mixalezub here trying to ban anything away from Prosper. I mean, think about it. You take away the snipers, cool, he'll go Victor. You take away Victor, okay, cool, he'll go a sniper. I think, you don't have enough bans in the world right now to deal with him, unless Clown Fiesta use one of theirs to hurt themselves. So maybe a little bit of a mix there. But I'm also interested to see what dynamic both of these teams go for, because there is a little bit of level, specifically in going into maybe boxing around bleachers and kind of going for a point fight down in the middle of the map as opposed to that long-range fight. But that long-range fight, I think, is going to end up favoring Clown Fiesta overall. And it's all tanks all day, baby, so Clown Fiesta have the pick of the litter.
Victor and Vivian both still around, so which are you going to choose? Neither. It's the Androxus being prioritized first overall, so Mixalezub in an interesting spot here, where theoretically they could go Victor and Vivian if they wanted to. with these second 2 picks. It would be a lot of hit scan. They are going to get the Inara here. So Inara now being kind of interestingly placed. This is a difference maybe in map presence score, where you look at Brightmarsh, she falls down to the final pick overall. Now Mixalezub are going to lock her in for the first one on their side.
I like this. I think it's still dangerous. I mean, you could go Andro Strix, Andro Canessa, Andro Victor. You could actually grab, honestly, if you wanted to go 3-hit scan, it maybe is a little risky to try and do that, but you could get like Victor Strix here, and I still think Clown Fiesta would come out pretty far ahead. But Inara Vivian is a really good answer back. And Inara, great point presence, and then Vivian, great anti-point presence, so you get a little bit of both. I'm going to control the objective while making it difficult for you to control it, Sentinels, once they are available. So first round, maybe it's going to be a little lackluster, but then later on in the game, I expect to see those coming not only huge in terms of a DPS addition, but, I mean, shredding anybody that's not Inara becomes so much easier. It goes through shields pretty well because Vivian works well with your wreckers, and so it's going to be difficult for Clown Fiesta, I think, to get a good tank. Maybe you go back to the Terminus here, but even then, it's a little shaky.
Bellini's excited about something back there. I'm sorry, Gore. She was wagging her tail and very excited about something happening around the corner, and I almost couldn't pay attention to anything else because your dogs are adorable, and we are reminded of that every day. Cassie and Grover locked in for Mixalezub here, so a strong combination of damage and some good healing for Splitstone Quarry as well. It isn't Strix Victor for 2 and 3 here for Clown Fiesta, but they're going to get Victor nonetheless down the line. So 4th pick, Victor with an Androxus Strix Genos. If you thought power and offensive presence was too much in game number 1, you've got even more of it. Terminus now to round out kind of that tank pool, able to play with the power siphon quite effectively, the reanimate if he gets taken out too early in these fights. I mean, Mixalezub have answered back well again, but if we learned anything from the playstyle of Clown Fiesta in game number 1, they've gotten exactly what they wanted here for Splitstone.
And I don't like patting myself on the back too much, but I honestly felt like that was a stretch, and yet I still managed to hit all the marks for Clown Fiesta, which is kind of insane to me. I was thinking they would go for something maybe a little more in between, and I actually like what Mixalezub have picked up. I think Grover, Cassie, Furia as well, all 3 of those rounding it out are going to be interesting. The only issue I have is damage output and how well they're going to keep up with it. I think their healing, as well as when Inflame is up, I mean, forget it. It's going to be absolutely in your favor, but making those moments work outside of those ultimate moments are really where things are going to struggle. I think Furia does a lot of good close range damage, so maybe she can lock some people down. Grover is just that awkward middleman right now where I think he's got a lot of potential, but it's how they use him and utilize him around those bleachers right here in this area that I think is going to make the big difference. Game
number 1, 4-0 for Clown Fiesta on Brightmarsh. We'll head to Splitstone Quarry, see if Clown Fiesta can push us to set point already. Cauterize is going to be very important against Mixalezub on the other side. Gore, we've kind of seen a lot of different metas, I guess, form around the PPC so far this year. One of them that we saw very early on has kind of faded out a little bit, but still see here and again, is this double healer composition. Is this something you still think can work, especially when you look at the good spreaders of Cauterize that Clown Fiesta have on the other side?
So I almost always think it depends on the healers, and it depends on who you're against, and I think this is going to help Inara immensely. I don't know that it's going to help the fight that much. Maybe the idea, and in my eyes, is you're going to have enough damage to deal with Crunchy, but maybe not enough to deal with everything afterward, and honestly now without the Vivian, maybe not enough to deal with Crunchy to begin with.
I was going to say, maybe this is a smart idea, corralling your entire team by Fidget Spinner. A triple kill for Prosper Logic will shut me down quickly. I was thinking, all right, maybe there's not a lot of splash damage. They have a lot of direct damage, almost no AoE on Clown Fiesta. Maybe the play is to kind of stack up and try to overwhelm them. But the control that Terminus had shut down everything from Mixalezub, and this point fight is over. They are swept, and Clown Fiesta are off to a 1-0 start.
Yeah, it's, you know, we were talking about name power. When most of the guys on Clown Fiesta, if not all of them, and I'd have to re-rack my brain, have lifted up a trophy in the past at one time or another for their level of play, you kind of have to assume they're going to be good. And again, typically, Prosper plus Victor equals the other team losing. And I think you get Alex on something that he's very comfortable with this Androxus. You get a very, very good Strix. Lock it all together with a Luminary boost, so they're dealing even more damage. But the problem I think this composition will run into is that it doesn't maybe push as well as it does fight around the point, so it might slow down around these points. I think Mixalezub with double healer and Inara can defend a little bit better, but I also thought that around the point fight, so maybe we'll see that one get corrected as well. As these ults come online, I think that's going to be the either rude awakening for Clown Fiesta or, well, just a brutal reminder for Mixalezub as to why Clown Fiesta are in control.
Seismic Crash tossed out, trying to lock down Prosper around the corner. Whirlwind used defensively on the backside as well, so some ultimates swinging and missing now for the red side. They are going to buy some space here, working their way in. Vivian guns down Prosper Logic, so a couple wins here for the red side. As the payload's going to roll its way backwards, Accentra has to make his way away as well, looking to connect a few defensive shots on the back end. So, whether the ultimate's fully connected or not, Gore, Mixalezub did spend on the defense and they came up big. Now it's kind of that counterpunch from Clown Fiesta that could give him a chance.
Yeah, the problem is you know, 3 ults, unstaggered, buys you some time. Now I think there's still a lot of room for Clown Fiesta to come back in. I mean, specifically there, the Accursed Arm coming through, but also the Barrage being available. I mean, there's a lot of openers for Clown Fiesta still on the board.
Alex with a couple here. Mixalezub are going to get pretty heavily staggered out now. It's Pecha on this Inara deep in the back that's going to get her respawn timer kind of the opposite of the rest of her team. So Mixalezub is going to have to delay here. Plenty of time to do it as the cart will round its final corner. Bolka has that through time and space, so could open up a gap here, especially with you know, some damage set up from the rest of the team. 4 ultimates ready to go. Obviously, you want to get this done without using ultimates for Clown Fiesta. In flames, spent, down goes K. Kiesel. Bolka gets the snipe now, though, trades out 1, and nobody in range. Once Crunchy goes down, that's where the squishy composition falters. Mixalezub have to spend that in flame, but they tie up the game.
I think it's just maybe a small lapse in judgment from Clown Fiesta. I think they were more than in control there. I don't know how else to describe that. I mean, they could have rolled that in. Might benefit them even more so, though, not having rolled it in. I think a 1-1 when you are kind of outright winning is maybe a little bit better for you than trying to fight 2-0 at the very beginning, just giving the other team an advantage from the comeback mechanic. Now, you go in on equal foot, you can potentially go up 3-1, then you just have to win 1 mid after that, right? The numbers kind of play to your advantage at that point. And they've got this Cauterize online. You were talking about it earlier, but 3 Caught 2s that are already available, pretty easily applied across the board as well, so I think it's going to be very difficult, especially when Prosper starts it off like that.
Yeah, if you got the barrage, your stack up is not going to work. Looking for the third, enough there from the Inara and health to keep her alive. Prosper still hunting. You have to know there's somebody around the corner waiting for you, but he's just going to zone. This is the old zoning Victor. You don't expect it, but you can't work your way through it. Crunchy's going to move his way forward as well. 60% for Clown Fiesta. Mixalezub looking to fight back in.
And I love this because what is this Vivian kind of ideally doing? She's shooting down on the point and making sure you can't get percentage. What is she doing right now? Trying to protect her life as Terminus walks her down slowly. Yeah, they're all grouped up here again. If Terminus goes down, Crunchy could have a huge ult.
What do you do? I mean, he's just walking at you with Power Siphon up, and you can't do anything about it. This point fight is infallible from Clown Fiesta. You're spending so much time worried about Crunchy behind you, Prosper Logic in front of you, everyone else from Clown Fiesta everywhere else. I'm surprised Mixalezub opted for the same kind of bleacher push yet again, but it doesn't work out. And now look at the space that Clown Fiesta's buying on the back end of the mid.
Yeah, I feel like at any given day, Crunchy on Terminus running me down is going to make me scared. But then when you put up what they have right next to them, it's just a deadly, again, it's just a devastatingly deadly combo that comes through. Barrage is back up. Now the Accursed Arm comes through once again. Maybe not finding any kills, but at this point it's all about keeping the pressure and momentum going, and they've come around that first corner with a heavy swing from Clown Fiesta. I don't know if Mixalezub are going to be able to kind of plant their heels and push back.
Davazy goes down. Big loss now for the Mixalezub defense. In Flame spent early here. 1.5 left on this push. If Clown Fiesta can just chill for a second, which they're able to do, they'll stay alive. No good on the through time and space this time. Alex down, so is Crunchy. So Mixalezub able to buy enough space to grab a couple of kills here. Good shots from Davizzi to get rid of Prosper. That's what you need on the defensive side. So now we're kind of seeing those scales tilt again. Mixalezub spend the inflame, they're able to push themselves out, and this is where Clan Fiesta had difficulty pushing back to their cart.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they'll do. Specifically, Prosper dropped a couple of shots of the barrage and then recharged it, right? I mean, I think he only dropped one, maybe two at max, so it didn't drop too low. Now he's going to be able to have that back, although with him gone, definitely makes it a little bit easier for Mixalezub to maybe make this go their way. I mean, it's just interesting because they had so much momentum. Inflame is usually used as a win button, but here kind of used as a do not lose button there for Mixalezub. And it did what they needed it to. It equalized the playing field. But again, it's what you do when you don't have that ult available that matters most to me. If you can keep Crunchy down, he's not using that reanimate, so you've got plenty of time. They could burn this 30 seconds, no problem.
One more big chance from Clan Fiesta. Prosper's going to give himself some vision. Barrage up. Couple charges used smartly around the corner. Goes Mixalezub. You're going to get some splash damage with the grenade. Davizzi, half HP. Cripples down on a couple members of Clan Fiesta. Down goes Nauk, down goes Crunchy as well. Reanimate used. Clan Fiesta looking for this push right now. Dodge roll back from Davizzi. He's not going to survive as Alex gets the kill here. Kiesel and Vivian both still alive. Grenade out, down goes to Vivian. Now it's the Vine away defensively. Let's keep the ult charges where they're at. This payload's going to make its way in. Clan Fiesta, a chance to win on the next mid.
And the best news for them, I'm looking at 54% there for Grover, 85% there at the end for this Furia. And being able to get their ults available pretty close, I think, for both of them. I mean, 54% maybe is not the easiest one to jump all the way back to the top. But you're looking at a good suite of ultimates from Mixalezub. But without that inflame up, they haven't been able to do a whole lot. You have just as many ults to clap back with there on Clan Fiesta, so I think you're looking pretty solid coming into a 3-1. And now, specifically Prosper Logic, it's this Predator 5 along with that Life Rip 2. Pretty much gets you right back to where you were pre-nerf for Victor. And so he's going to be feeling pretty happy about himself. The economy definitely making sure it's paying its way over towards him. 2 points means 600 extra credits if Mixalezub don't have, and he spent it wisely.
Well, I like this change of approach, maybe. Still looking towards bleachers. Seismic crash. Not much there. Mixalezub, though, are going to opt for a different side. They've gotten split, though. Accentra snipes down Kiesel. So an opening kill there. Time and space, no good this time. Alex, though, the accursed arm will find himself a kill. Now has to pop that inflame, but it's a double kill from the Androxus, and he'll be able to dash away as Pecha is going to have to back off as well. This is a good start for Clan Fiesta Gore. Not quite as convincing as previously, so still a chance for Mixalezub.
And now I mean, I've seen this game before, right? I mean, we saw this moment last round. We saw it the round before. How do you move forward when Prosper's holding this angle? He's already at 81% as well on the barrage. Even if you can touch the point here for Mixalezub, you've got to do a whole lot of work behind it, and you don't have any ults to use.
And you just can't contest. I mean, we haven't really been on board with Accentra all that much, but it's been a lot of this. Sniping down from the high ground, finishing off kills, setting him up for the rest of his team. 2 down now for Mixalezub. Overtime is on. Whirlwind used here. 3 members left alive. A barrage is going to lock down some damage, but all you need to buy is space. And Clan Fiesta, not as convincing as Bright Marsh. Find another win here. 4-0 on Splitstone. 4-1, rather, on
Dave,
Splitstone.
You don't just need space. You need space and time. And they had all of that in their favor there. The ults, I think, really good from Bolka throughout a lot of that as well. I mean, they just hit the mark. I think the draft for Clan Fiesta played into all of Clan Fiesta's strengths. There's not a single name I look at with that champion icon next to it and
That's
think,
what I mean.
I don't know. But, you know, you get down there, and I love Cassie. I think Fury is great. I think Grover's great. I think everybody Mixalezub picked up is great. But when Prosper Logic's doing almost 3 times as much damage as your highest damage dealer, you're not hitting the mark. And unfortunately for Mixalezub, I think there's a little bit of Victor that's causing them a lot of trouble, a lot of this Andro in the backline. But even more so, I think we have to give credit over to this Terminus that are just running people down so consistently. Crunchy did not give them any breathing room.
That's why I was just so surprised that Mixalezub, at least twice, on the third mid-fight, they kind of changed up that strategy. But there were a couple of mid-fights where it seems like they just stacked and kind of walked in towards the Terminus, who held the power siphon up, and the damage was just being done from elsewhere. I was just sort of surprised at the full 5-stack that we saw on 2 separate occasions there. Clown Fiesta, though, with the wherewithal to capitalize on it. So these guys finally getting some momentum going in this phase for themselves. Obviously, not that they've lacked momentum, but really getting some convincing wins here. 4-0, 4-1. Now Jaguar Falls, the next map on board. So now for the third game in a row, Gormizer, you wonder if Mixalezub is going to dance with Prosper Logic's Victor.
That's the... Man, but what do you ban... Or what do you give up if you ban the Victor, right? I mean, you still are letting him. And, yeah, I think first pick, sweep it away. I think, ban out the things that have been making him strong. The Genos. Let's see, Jag Falls. My brain's trying to rack it for what else you can come through. I think Vivian could still be a good ban here. Ruckus, depending on whether or not you want it or not, has been something we've seen very prominent on this map. But at the end of the day, I think sweep that Victor out of there. At least force Prosper to be a little uncomfortable, and you'll be fine. Ish,
right, yeah, ish. I mean, he's top tier on the Victor, and very close to top tier. I mean, top tier literally in the grand scheme of things on everything else, but compared to his Victor, the rest of his champ pool not that far behind. So it is Victor first overall here for Mixalezub. I think you got to do it. At this point, if you're not going to ban it out, you got to take it for yourselves, but there's still a lot left available. Damba's been a very popular healer, so not surprised to see that. Vivian not banned out yet on Jaguar Falls, so we've seen Vivian as an okay answer to this Victor. But Maldamba, I think, a good start for providing some good splash healing, especially on a map like this. And I'm surprised, Gore, I have to admit, the continued presence of this Ruckus in the top tiers of picks just continues throughout the first set here of the day.
I think there's multiple ways to look at it, but at the end of the day, I'm always going to say, well, we're in Europe, therefore Ruckus, because he's good, and I think he's maybe underutilized in some of the other areas of the world. But as of right now, Europe has always had something about Ruckus that they've not only been able to use in the world stage better than others, but we've seen it translate. The North American teams that were able to in the past pick up this Ruckus and make it work pretty much ran the show. And I'm thinking of Envy. Rubu's Ruckus was absolutely one of the best in the world. And so we got to see that dominate people several times, and I think that's something Clown Fiesta are going to be able to showcase throughout this. But, Victor, Vivian, Andro, you ask for 3 of the best DPS in the game, and you get all 3 of them on your side. That's it's hard to argue against. I'm trying to think of how to take them down on my own, but
yeah, we got to give credit where it's due, right? I mean, we've given a lot of credit to the names attached to those specific champions up to this point so far in this set. Now it's time for Mixalezub to say, well, those champs are just that good and we tried to play against them. I mean, this is a chance for this squad to really show that they can overwhelm Clown Fiesta, who's beaten them 8-1 in total so far this set. I mean, this is the draft that looks to overwhelm you, and Mixalezub have the chance do so. Haven't seen Corvus all that much. I think it was maybe in Europe where we saw him completely foregone. Maybe it was last week or week number 1 here in the PPC. But going to be locked in, third game here for Mixalezub. Do you like the draft?
The gods are watching.
I do a lot, and I think it's really weird just because Corvus is that one I'm on the fence about, but I don't know why. He's performed really well. He's just is Genos banned? Cool. We know where we're going now. We know who we're going to pick up. Io's not available right now, so there's only one support that it feels like they're going to scramble for. I think you've got a nice wide slow, a lot of good team ults there for Mixalezub. Again, 3 of the best DPSs, 2 of which can sit from the back line. Vivian and Ruckus can go toe-to-toe. This Tyra does maybe put a little bit of a fork in their plan, specifically around playing with a Nara. But outside of that, I don't know. I think Mixalezub get the better draft here. It's just whether or not they can play it to beat Clown Fiesta that's going to be the question.
That's right. I mean, they've got a fantastic offensive draft for Mixalezub, but you got to bring it against Clown Fiesta that have this Tyra, the Ruckus, the Terminus. Damba provides some great splash healing as well. We've seen the rise of Xin so far in this meta. I imagine that's going to be Alex on the Xin. That carries a lot of weight with it as well. It's time now, though, for Mixalezub to turn this set around. Clown Fiesta up 2-0, a chance to take it 3-0, push us over to Brazil with a win here on Jaguar Falls. I am curious. I want to keep my eye on talent selection here for Tyra as well. I feel like a lot of it has been, we have seen some Mercy kill, wonder if it would be more centric around that firebomb. But the extra nade launcher charge is something we have seen a little bit of, Gore.
And I'm wondering how the loadout specifically is going to look for this Tyra, just because there are some cards that synergize pretty well with it, specifically giving some damage reduction as you go forward with it. And yeah, you can see that decrease your damage taken after you fire your, or use your nade launcher, right? So it's not, if you hit with it, it's not deal damage with it. It is very simply, if you shoot your grenade, you then get damage reduction here. And that is where Prosper Logic is going to be able to kind of showcase this. And that's what this talent brings in that playstyle. So it's not about burning people down, although that is going to help. I think that nade is going to be some good burst damage against the Victor, the Vivian, and the Andro that could potentially turn the fight in this Tyra's favor.
Clown Fiesta have stayed alive through the onslaught of damage up to this point. They found first blood onto the Vivian. Prosper Logic now. A smart little flank around the back side. It drops down that Hunter's Mark. Dueling now. Inara, talk about being able to stay alive. Will turn around the kill in a 2v1. Cruncy will help out Alex. Really a 3-for-1 there. So Pecha turns a lot of eyes towards the Inara, tied up at 30 apiece. Clown Fiesta, though, maybe a little bit better in control of this space as we see Mixalezub rotating around this right-hand side.
I like Cruncy's position here because, yeah, he's not doing much, but he's making sure no one's walking into the point. And that's going to be an angle that he can hold and dive in on. That's going to be the kind of flank that you get out of it. Early crossfire here from Prosper. Didn't really find a whole lot, but it forced Davlozy to play way too defensive.
Right, it was a very defensive use of the reversal there. I appreciate the hesitation on melting into that reversal there, because that one would have been absolutely massive had all of the crossfire got onto it. Basically
me holding left click as long as I can.
Right, I don't stop, no chance. All right, quick pause here before we'll jump back into the game. So Clown Fiesta, keep that momentum going, Goremizer. And this is a map, I mean, you look at Splitstone, and that's where Mixalezub have been able to find their one and only point so far in this game was on the defensive stand on Splitstone. Still kind of a funnel here on the defense, high ground in the back of your base, but maybe you'd make the argument that maybe this one's a little easier for Clown Fiesta to push through than it was on our previous match.
Yeah, as far as conversions go, I think it's going to be a little easy. But the problem is it does come down, at least in my eyes for Jag Falls, it is kind of breaking through that funnel. You had highlighted it. The payload goes through that nice little archway,
right,
and it's trying to make sure that you don't just get melted throughout all of that. It's approaching it at the different angles. And so I think there's a lot of pressure on this Terminus to stay alive throughout all of that. Of course, going down early is going to make it a little easier for Mixalezub. But I think Terminus has to go in with a full power siphon, Tyra has to attack from one side, and Zen maybe has to go in from the other to just distract everybody and allow that payload to move forward.
That was a big accursed arm from Davlozy. Half HP now on this Androxus as he'll be able to dash away. So an interesting choice of positioning here to kind of make your defensive stand a little bit split. Our Mixalezub, Princess Pecha is going to go down as a result. Kiesel is going to soar up. Looks like canceling the ultimate there. So preemptive usage. Clown Fiesta maybe sensing, rather, that Clown Fiesta were going to push their way in. Decides to start it, cancels it out, so you're going to get right back to around 50% on that one. Good, though, on the defense so far. Now starting to connect a little bit on this Victor as well. This is a tough defense to fight into, especially if you're Clown Fiesta. You don't have that consistent long-range artillery that we saw them have in the previous games.
A lot of pressure on the Prosper Logic, and honestly that Hexafire to do something. Unfortunately for Cruncy, it kind of goes wide and doesn't find the kill, and that's just going to be something they lose out on. They've only got a minute left, which on Jag Falls, it's like right in that awkward area. You know you're going to be hitting a couple of snags still because of where the payload is, so you need a little bit more time to work with, or just a whole lot of kills and pressure. I think that's what Prosper Logic is going to be able to do. Crossfire's charged back up, Reanimate available, Dread Serpent's almost back available.
Yep.
So there's a lot of turn potential for Clown Fiesta.
Oh, stunned down onto Crunty. He dashes forward, looking for the kill. It's a double now from Alex. A Dread Serpent up to the high ground as Accentra will go right back down to the low. It's Pecha chasing Bolka around. Triple kill now for Alex, trying to keep the damage onslaught going. The wall, though, will stall things out. Spite up and over by some positioning here. Alex wants to keep going. He's able to do so, but the respawns are going to be here soon for Mixalezub. Corvus drops his ultimate again down by the payload. 10 seconds left. Alex whirls his way in. Davazy kill over onto Prosper. That's the counter up, counter back now from Alex. And with 3 members left, it looks like Mixalezub have gotten themselves a point.
Man, and I really wanted to sing praise for Xincha, and I think he still deserves it. That should have been a dead Maldamba when he walked up, but that power siphon just appropriately placed more or less onto Pecha's shots rather than on top of Maldamba to keep Bolka safe, but just blocking them so that Maldamba could sneak out and slither out and stay alive was great. Unfortunately, it was the follow-up thereafter that didn't necessarily hit. Inara throws up a wall, really stops anybody from getting in. Alex can go over the said wall, but it costs you your ult, and then it becomes this balancing equation as to whether or not everything's working. So at the end of the day, maybe you have to throw it to the wayside. But I really do think that, I mean, for Mixalezub, being in a position like that where, I mean, you've got a better draft and it still feels like just at the very end of it all you're able to defend.
Right.
I think it showcases the strength Clown Fiesta are bringing in.
It is tough. Alex is going to try to pick up the pace a little bit here on this Zin. Good attempt on getting the payload moving forward. Crossfire now from Prosper. Pecha melted down first overall. That's tough for Mixalezub. You've now lost your one and only tank. Davzy, double dash away. Oh, one more shot would have done it. Off around the side, so a little bit longer than Clown Fiesta were hoping for, but they got the kill onto the Androxus nonetheless. Regain control of this mid space. Up to 60% now. Pecha on the respawn is going to have to work. That Inara right back in. Barrage, but Accentra up,
Good
down.
kill.
See you later now. Fantastic pick there, but the Vivian will get one onto Crunty. Prosper Logic immediately trades one out. Looks like Clown Fiesta have gotten their second point.
And honestly, I mean, they're just playing well. I think actually with Andro specifically not dying when he would have at first and instead backing off a little bit, almost staggering himself just slightly, kind of ends up helping Clown Fiesta. They're in a 3v5 already, technically 4v5 while Andro's alive. Then Andro dies, and Nara's still running back to the fight. And so it was at this point where you never had your full strength again.
Ooh.
And Clown Fiesta are looking to try and run back pretty much exactly what they just did on Splitstone.
Yeah, this time successfully on the push here on Jaguar Falls. A complete sweep almost from Mixalezub. And then you look at the ultimates. Clown Fiesta didn't have to use much at all. Davazy, an important pick over onto Prosper. Hexafire in the back line. Doesn't get the kill onto Davazy. The Dread Serpent into the back. Now running off to the side. Crunty dashing in, but dashing out is now back into base. Pecha makes their way over towards this cart just to buy some time on the contest. Crunty is going to use this wall to his advantage as well. Full respawns in. Alex, spite up, spite down. Pecha low, not killed off just yet though. Bolka with the toss gets the kill. Might have been the Gord there that got that one. It's the barrage down. Bolka will slither his way away. Look at what Crunty is doing, diving deep into the base of Mixalezub. Accentra controlling the space as well. But it might be time for Bolka to slither his way away. Leaves his tank off on his own. So gritty fighting here, but that's always going to benefit the defense. Look how close the card is, Score.
Crunty lived with 26 HP. Maybe the only other thing closer than this payload converting is that number that comes through. And the fact that he was able to survive so long in the backline caused that much trouble for Mixalezub. I think is going to, well, once again, maybe showcase why we talked so highly of Clown Fiesta coming into this, and also why I think they're going to find this conversion, Dave. They're not going to let this one rest.
Crossfire used. Down goes Davazy. Accentra just playing separator here. A couple back in base, but neither of them tanky enough to move in. Clown Fiesta, they convert. Now 1 point away from taking the 3-0.
They did have to use the crossfire, which maybe was a little extra. They didn't anticipate having to use on that push. But you're, well, 64% on the way to a Hexafire. Very solid. Reanimates almost up. You have Dread Serpent, which Bolka has been on point with these Dread Serpents so far in this game. I mean, it has been insane, the peel or the setup that he applied. And again, this goes back. Crunty lived with 26 HP because Bolka hit a really good Dread Serpent. and let Cruncy get even more damage to turn around on the Now on the other side. So, again, just great support play. 16 streak going on, 2-1 and 18. And Alex is having a hell of a game as well. Just everybody on Clown Fiesta is doing solid. And it's more or less what I expected when you look, again, at all 5 of these names. It's just a power roster.
Not surprising to be seen here. Dread Serpent used on one target. Clown Fiesta are able to at least lock down Vivian here. Bulka, though, trades out his life, so 1-for-1 trade. Davzy gets one, Alex the other. It's a double so far for Davzy, but he trades out now with Accentra. Lots of checkerboarding going on here. Neither team able to pull a big advantage. Maybe it's the spite that'll open up the door, the billow, the whirl, enough to get Alex out alive. Clown Fiesta up to 51% so far. Mixalezub gonna have to fight their way back in. Seismic Crash stuns Accentra, but he's around the corner. No damage there to be found. That's massive lockdown now missing from the blue side as they try to fight back in. Prosper rotates to the left, gonna drop down that Hunter's Mark. Davzy goes down. Pecha very low here. It's a double kill for Prosper Logic. 90% Mixalezub. They have to throw bodies on the pile, but there's no bodies to throw, and Clown Fiesta complete the 3-0.
You know, I was preparing my statement to talk about why having the reanimate there for Terminus was going to make things so much more difficult. Didn't even come into play. I think it was something, you kill that tank, yeah, he's just going to come right back. You have to win 2-3 fights all in one engagement to make that work out for you, and unfortunately Clown Fiesta just never gave the opportunity away. So I think they played it well. I do think we saw some good from Mixalezub. The draft, especially in that last game, was something that I think against almost any other team you're going to run away with. But Clown Fiesta just aren't going to let you have that advantage. I mean, even now, they had less slash lines prowess than they did in games 1 and 2. You know, things were definitely more even as far as that was concerned. But it didn't really translate well into the gameplay, and I think that's mainly the 2 and 9 on Inara. You know, not much you could do there, but 9 deaths, you're not going to be able to stand and contest.
Kind of felt like Davzy against the world there. 10, 8, and 4 on the Androxus. The only somewhat positive slash line, right up there in damage with Vivian and Victor as well. So even kind of spread across the 3 damage dealers from Mixalezub, but not enough to unseat Prosper Logic. And you know, Prosper had Victor a couple of times in this set. Tyra now for game number 3. This guy's still got it, and if you ever questioned it, this is a set to remind you that he absolutely does. 80,000 damage on this Tyra. A good map for her, to be fair. You know, the nade launcher providing some of that extra DR, a little extra skirmish power. The firebomb, I think, found some good value.
Yeah.
But I think this score is really just a big statement for this Clown Fiesta team. Kind of comes back to what you were saying, where the, you know, maybe an early stumble here. You know, 1-1 coming into this game, but absolutely not a team that you can look over. I mean, about as clean as you get over Mixalezub today. I think Alex had a phenomenal set as well. Glad we're getting some looks at him.
Yeah, I think you come through and you drop 2 points of the 12 that you were able to, or compared to the 12 that you pick up there for Clown Fiesta. So not bad when it comes down to it.
No.
Very on par for what we see in Europe for the top teams, and consistent, I think, is what Clown Fiesta brought. And it was what you were saying, I think, at the very beginning of the day. It was kind of surprising to see them, I believe, you know, in that pack that was 1-1, not something you typically would anticipate. And so clawing their way back up towards the top there, still having to contend with Yoinkers as of right now. And, you know, the rest of the games being played over the next couple of days here. We'll see how well Yoinkers can hold on to that. But, you know, they're another team that has a lot of big names, you know, Zarini, Logi, Good Lad, a lot of players that have been around. So it's not surprising to see these two kind of powerhouses that have had this strength in the past come forward and maybe step forward. But Interstellar, Celestial, even Chromospace down there at the bottom, even though they didn't have a very great first phase, I still anticipate a very good second phase for them because, again, the players on there are all very solid.
Now, that is what we have for Europe today. As Gore points out, we're going to be showing some of those other European games. We'll show the other Brazilian games, all that sort of fun stuff later on in the weekend. We go over to Brazil next, though, Gore. Ignite Gaming has been a team over in Brazil that's found some early success up against the team in Fatal Ambition that's kind of looking to bounce back here. Do you think we could have another quick one in store over in Brazil here for our second set of the day?
Man, I'm not sure. You know, Brazil is one of those that always throws me for a loop. Typically, I have this very, very simple equation, which is if Parallax, then fast set. But because Parallax isn't involved,
Right.
you get Ignite versus Fatal. I think Fatal Ambition has a lot to prove, and, well, again, a lot of ambition. I think the name is very, very appropriate. So I'm excited to see what they're able to provide. Ignite, maybe kind of being able to blast onto the scene in a great way. I think it's going to end up being maybe more contested than some of the other sets we've seen in Brazil.
Difficult to predict over in Brazil when Parallax isn't on the slate. That's it, though, for Europe. That big set, Ignite versus Fatal Ambition. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We'll have that one for you right on the other side of this break.